भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टाप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। स्वरूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Today we are discussing about Lord Narasimha's pastimes, beautiful pastimes on Narasimha Chaturdasi Eve, day before Narasimha Chaturdasi. We'll offer prayers to Lord Narasimha and then we'll begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya, Namaste आविर्भावा वज्रनग वज्रदंष्टा कर्माशयं रन्धय तमो ग्रस ओं स्वाहा अभयम् अभयम् आत्मने भूयिष्ठ ओं क्षौं उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्योर्मृत्युर्नमाम्यहम्। नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, स्वरूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। The first pastime, almost 13 or so pastimes are there. And this is by His Grace Pankaj Angri Prabhu. The fact that people just love to hear stories is one reason why some of the Vedic codes were gradually transmitted in story form, like the epic histories of Mahabharata and Ramayana and the Puranas. When such stories concern the pastimes of Lord and His devotees, they are called Leelas, being labeled Lord Narasimha's Pujari in Mayapur. I have been asked to recount some stories in connection with him, but unlike the Shastras, these Leelas have no authority except for the testimony of the devotees who told them. In most cases, there were no other witnesses. Although I am generally quite skeptical when it comes to accepting other people's mystical experiences as truth, just too many things started happening recently not to sit up and take notice. For instance, during the last Gaur Purnima festival, I called over a Mataji in the crowd and asked her to distribute the Lord's Charnamrut to the ladies, which she did. Later, when she brought the Charnamrut pot back, she remarked that Lord Narasimhadev was very merciful to reciprocate so quickly. I was praying this morning that I might be able to offer some direct service to him, and now you have given me this service. Yes, I said, desires are quickly fulfilled in the Dham. Just see, the same way you deserve, it happened. Same way you desire, it happened. No, not the same day, the same moment, she replied. The very instant I expressed the desire to serve him, you called me over. Wow, that is amazing. I acknowledge. Did you hear about how uh, Almarati Mataji's eye problem was cured? Cured at the same time that Lord Narasimhadev's original eyes were placed back. After one donor had brought him new eyes. Oh, yes, she told me, as a matter of fact, I was Staying in the same building when Lord Narasimha spoke to her, she added, there was so much energy around that night that nobody could get any sleep. Just a few days later, another devotee revealed how Lord Narasimha helped him. I was suffering intensely. I could not even stand without supporting myself on the column in front of Lord Narasimha's altar. I prayed, please help me, take away this suffering condition so that I may serve you fully. Then I felt all my pain moving up and flowing out of my body. It just left. While I was hearing this, I noticed another devotee who had come for the darshan of the Lord. Earlier in the morning, this Mataji had asked my advice what to do, for she had been afflicted for about 2 weeks with a problem that contaminated her body, which wouldn't allow her to paint some deities in Assam. Although she had already been commissioned to do it and had an air ticket to go, Mataji, I explained while walking out to her, Lord Narasimhadev is giving instant benediction. Why didn't you ask him to remove your problem? That very next morning, when she saw me, she said, thank you so much for the advice. When I arrived home from the temple yesterday, my problem had completely disappeared. Some days later, another Mataji came to the Pujari room and told us about a dream wherein Lord Narasimha walked and talked with her just like a father. When she asked how she could serve him, he told her to offer him some mangoes. About, as I told many times, mangoes is the favorite of Lord Narasimha in many places. And jaggery, the drink also. About 1 week later, when she brought the mangoes for offering, Jananivas was telling some other pujaris how fortunate she was that Lord Narasimha came to her dream and talked to her and held her hand while walking with her and gave her personal instructions. The Mataji then exclaimed, actually, there was more to the dream than what I had previously told you. Lord Narasimhadev also said to me, my pujar is very dear to me, and I am going to take him back with me. Oh, don't do that, please. I fearfully exclaimed, we want him to stay here. No, I think I will take him back. And after my pleading with him for a long time, the Lord formally announced, all right, then I will take one of the leaders instead. And now, as you know, just days ago, His Holiness Gaur Govind Goswami Maharaj, Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj, who was a GBC sannyasi and guru, suddenly left his body apparently by ear attack, heart attack. I didn't mention it before because I didn't want to alarm anyone, but now it has come true. I feel it is all right to tell you. When he repeated the story to my friend Vislambar from Kerala, he said, that is amazing. My wife also dreamed about Lord Narasimhadev and mangoes. You see, yesterday, while she was waiting outside the Mayapur campus, she saw a jar of mango pickles in a shop and decided to buy them for Lord Narasimhadev. But doubting the purity of the content, she refrained. However, last night Lord Narasimha appeared to her in her dream and asked, where are my mango pickles? When Lord Narasimha first came to Mayapur, all the pujaris were reluctant to worship his awesome form. Baba Siddhi Das was particularly frightened and always very nervous worshipping him. One night, after putting the Lord to rest, he was leaving the altar when he heard such a tremendous sound that it made his hair stand on end. Looking back fearfully, he saw that everything was in place. So he quickly left, locked the door, and paid his obeisances, praying for forgiveness for any offense he might inadvertently have committed. And at the end of that night, he was awakened by the shaking of his bed. Baba Siddhi was sleeping on the top of a bunk bed. So he thought it must be a pujari below him getting up for Mangalarti. However, when he opened his eyes, he saw Lord Narasimhadev sitting. Wow. Lord Narasimhadev was sitting on the bed. That fortunate pujari became very fearful, practically to the point of panic. As he tried to get up, Lord Narasimhadev placed his two hands, which felt like the weight of the universe on his shoulders. Be peaceful, be calm. The Lord consoled him. I have just come to tell you that when you worship me in the temples, there is no need to fear me. Please give up this fear. The Lord then disappeared, but Baba Siddhi began to run up and down the veranda of the long building where he slept. What happened? asked some concerned devotees, but they received only incoherent replies. They started to think maybe he had gone mad or become haunted by a ghost. Finally, Baba Siddhi ran over to the temple and prostrated himself before the door where Lord Narasimhadev is worshipped and offered heartfelt prayers. After some time, he became a little pacified and began walking back to the room. I wonder why everyone is staring at me. He thought when he looked down, the answer was obvious. He was only dressed in his underwear. Oof. Wow. I saw Baba Siddhi at last year's Gaur Punam festival. He is living in America now and asked him about the incident. Yes, he said, I still have those two marks from Lord Narasimhadev on my shoulder. They are almost gone now, but they are still visible. He wasn't the only one to claim and to have seen Lord Narasimhadev. Once, a devotee from a nearby Gaudiya temple came to offer worship to Lord Narasimhadev and told our head Pujari Jananivas that on Narsingha Chaturdashi, the appearance day of Narasimhadev, he had been staying up all night chanting. Then, at the end of the night, our Lord Narasimhadev manifested himself in his room. Wow. It was the form of Narasimhadev from our temple. He was wearing a red dress and he appeared to be smiling at me. My Guru Maharaj said, I was very fortunate and should come here and worship Lord Narasimhadev. Another time, the frantic parents of a runaway boy, after searching all over the country, finally heard that their son was at our Mayapur center. They immediately came and spent the whole day looking for him, inquiring at the reception desk and from individual devotees, but they were not at all lucky in tracing him. At the end of the day, during the Sandhya Arati of Lord Narasimhadev, his mother was praying with folded hands. My dear Lord, the last time I came here, I happily participated in the chanting and dancing, but now my heart is broken because of my lost son and I find no pleasure in life anymore. My Lord, if my son could be returned to me, then I would also raise my hands and chant Haribol Hare Krishna. As these words left her mouth, a figure passed and stopped before her and Lord Narasimhadev. It was her lost son. Both parents have now accepted Vaishnava initiation, started a Namhatta center, and are enthusiastically preaching the Lord's glories. They, there are other stories, some I would be hesitant to repeat, and others that I can't, having been told them in confidence. The devotees who told me these stories that had their faith and conviction strengthened, and certainly mine was too. So if others derive the same result of helping us advancing in Krishna consciousness, it was most beneficial, even though they are not Shastra. This is the one, couple of pastimes combined in this. Further pastimes you're reading. This is by Pankajang further. O Narasimhadev, whose palm is terrible by sharp and long teeth, who is very fearful to see with strong, large nails, and who is garlanded by flames, destroy my obstacles and kick out my fears, scatter my enemies, destroy my karma, flash, kill, cut, ever fulfill my desire to serve you and protect me and all around me. Startling, isn't it? The Maha Mantra of Lord Narasimha for those who have had darshan of the deity from here in Mayapur, especially at Mangalarti, when in the darkness of the pre-dawn, his doors open to reveal his awesome form, illuminated by 200 of oil lamps that make his eyes and teeth glint in his lion-like face with a gaping mouth. They know that this description is no exaggeration. While inside the altar area, the pujari circles large lamps of bright, flaming camphor and ghee. Outside, many devotees throng for the glimpse of the Lord, and for they know that this auspicious arati will be over in just 3 or 4 minutes. It is just before 5 a.m. The arati is over, and the heavy wooden doors of Lord Narasimha altar are closed. I enter the deity room after offering prostrated obeisance and praying for the blessings of Sri Prabhupada and assembled devotees. While standing before the Lord with folded hand, I recite the following prayer: O Kesava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who has assumed the form of a half man, half lion, all glories to you. Just as one can easily crush a wasp between one's fingernails, so in the same way, the body of the wasp-like demon Hiranyakasipu has been ripped apart by the wonderful pointed nails on your beautiful lotus hands. After cleaning the floor and sitting on a kusha grass mat, the pujari begins. Uh, Pu- Pujari be- what happened here? Pujari began. The first thing I do is to purify the articles to be used as well as the body and the mind. Then I meditate on my spiritual identity as different from the body, understanding to be the eternal servant of the Lord. Next comes my worship of my spiritual master, Sri Prabhupada, with sandalwood paste, flowers, incense, ghee lamp, and some food. I then ask for his permission to assist in the worship of Lord Narasimha, repeating the same procedure for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Prahlad Maharaj. I beg to offer 16 items of worship through the mantras, through the medium of water to Lord Narasimha. I touch my head to the lotus feet of the deity of Sri Prahlad Maharaj, praying for his blessing. It was only to relieve the distress brought to you by your demoniac father Hiranyakashipu that the Supreme Lord appeared in his wonderful form of Lord Narasimha. O Sri Prahlad Maharaj, you are one of the 12 Mahajanas or great authorities of devotion service. Kindly bless me with the understanding of the spiritual truths. On the altar of Lord Narasimha are 100 Saligram Silas. I remove them to offer Abhishek. The big Sila in the center, who wears a crown, is a Narasimha Saligram. Although it is a scriptural injunction that one should touch one's head to the feet of the deity, it is not always possible or practical. Therefore, we bring out the satari, the deity's shoes, mounted on what looks like a helmet, and place it over the heads of the devotees. One of the benedictions of the being a pujari is that he can place his head directly on the Lord's lotus feet. Receiving this benediction and begging forgiveness for any inconvenience I may cause him. I undress the Lord and wipe his body with a soft, damp towel. His body begins to shine when I massage it with cooling oil like a sandalwood or cuss. His form is exquisite, slender, and perfectly formed. His lotus, he looks powerful but also graceful. The Lord's knees are bent, ready to spring, and around his hips is an engraved girdle bearing a face with large cheeks, open mouth, and a protruding tongue. His navel is deep and his chest is broad. Lord Narasimha's transcendental body is smooth, soft to the touch, and very much appealing to the eye. He is bedecked with bracelets and other ornaments. The Lord has 8 arms. In 6 hands he holds a sword, lotus flower, disc, conch, club, and shield. And to keep the promise of Brahma, he his two front hands yield no weapons. The Lord cannot bear any intolerance against his devotee. It is said that the face is the index of the mind. If this proves to be true, then we can see how furious Lord Narasimha must have been when he burst out from the pillar to attack the greatest of all demons, Hiranyakashipu, who tried to kill the Lord's pure devotee Prahlad. His angry eyes resembled molten gold, and his shining mane expanded to the dimensions of his fearful face. His deadly teeth and his razor sharp tongue moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. When it was decided to bring the deity of Lord Narasimha to Mayapur for the protection of all the devotees of the temple, 3 of the main pujaris were called by the managers to discuss the importance of establishing the deity. However, when it came to the point of who would perform the daily puja, no one was willing to step forward. After such a long waiting period, the deity is finally ready, and now nobody wants to worship him. Their concern was obvious, and then I was singled out. Why don't you want to worship him? I was asked. I am too scared, I replied. They intimated me. Oh, you probably don't follow the 4 regulations, of course. But fortunately, our fears were allayed by Atma Tattva Prabhu, who had procured the deity in South India. He told us first, even the Stapati refused to make such a deity, saying that nobody worshipped the Sthanu form of Nrsimhadev, the ferocious form of the Lord when he stepped out of the pillar to kill Hiranyakashipu. Generally, one goes before the deity of the Lord to ask for some benediction, but to ask for something when he is shaking with fury just wouldn't be a smart thing to do. It is certainly better to go for a more pacified form. Example, after he has killed Hiranyakashipu, but later when Stapati found out that it was for Mayapur Dham, he agreed because any deity brought to the Dham, Dham takes on the mood of the presiding deity of the Dham. In this case, it is Audharya, benevolence, the mood of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sri Gaurahari. Although very ferocious, the lioness is very kind to her cubs. Similarly, although very ferocious to non-devotees like Hiranyakasipu, Lord Narasimha is very, very gentle and kind to his devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. While blessing the Lord and remembering His mercy, I am thinking how some people misunderstand our purpose of worshipping Lord Narasimhadev. Sometimes devotees say that worship of Narasimhadev is Vaikuntha Dhama, and it cannot take one to Golok Vrindavan. The Lord supreme and most intimate devotee, but Lord Narasimhadev is particularly inclined toward the devotees of Radha and Krishna. He is Krishna himself, appearing especially in the form to reciprocate with our desire to remove all the obstacles in our devotion service. If one can always raise his hands and call out with great love the names of Nitai Gaur and Radha Madhav, that is wonderful. But if there is something in your heart that is stopping you from that spontaneous call, why not go in humility before Lord Narasimhadev and pray that with his sharp nails he may pierce those crooked desires in your heart and throw them far away. This is his main function. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur writes, therefore, I pray at the feet of Lord Narasimhadev to purify my heart and give me the desire to serve Krishna. Weeping, I will beg at the lotus feet of Narasimha that I may worship Sri Radha and Krishna in Navadvip Dham, free from all obstacles. His prayers continue at that moment by Lord Narasimha's mercy, I will exhibit symptoms of ecstatic love for Radha and Krishna. I will roll on the ground by the door of Lord Narasimha's temple. Didn't Lord Chaitanya reveal his divinity to Srivas Thakur while Srivas was worshipping him, Lord? His Narasimha deity by saying, Srivas, don't you know that I am the same person whom you are worshipping behind those closed doors? And what about Advaita Acharya, whose offerings of Tulsi, birds, and Ganga water, along with his loud calling, caused the Lord to descend? It is said that he worshipped Narasimha Saligram Shila. That is by Advaita Acharya. I now begin putting ornaments on the Lord's body. I adjust Sri Narasimha Deva's necklaces so they hang symmetrically. Tie shining bracelets on his wrist and fix beautiful rings on his lotus fingers. I am so close to you, O Lord, yet so far away. When will I become a devotee? Prahlad, your favorite bhakta, is indicating that he is not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue. Your eyes are bright as the sun, and your frowning eyebrows is fierce. He fears not. Your sharp, pinching teeth, your garland of intestines, and your mane soaked with blood, nor your tumultuous roaring, which makes elephants flee, nor your nails meant for killing your enemies. However, he says, I am very much afraid of my condition of the life within this material world. When was that moment come when you will call me to the shelter of your lotus feet? I know Sri Prahlad was saying that last point was only for our benefit, for he was always completely surrendered unto you. One time I also felt surrendered unto you at least for a few minutes. That was during the big flood in 1987. This is an amazing pastime. Listen carefully. While offering you puja, standing uh, waist deep in water, because Mayapur floods come regularly. A big, frightening snake swarm in the temple, passing behind you, and stopped about 5 feet in front of me, finding it exit blocked. After examining me for some long moments, it dipped down and out of sight in the muddy Ganga water. Feeling myself in imminent danger, I noticed the hair on my arms standing on end, with no weapon to defend myself, nor the ability to run away. I felt very insecure. In such a helpless condition, I turned to you, O Lord, and I knew that my fate was completely in your hands. You are the super soul in everyone's heart. If you want that snake to bite me, it will bite. If you don't, it won't. Let me continue my service. The result is dependent on you. Then I became peaceful again, feeling the safety of your shelter. I finished the morning puja, but I couldn't stop thinking about the incident. It reminded me of the description by Lord Kapila of the babies in the womb in that helpless and painful condition. They get the darshan of Paramatma, the Lord in the heart. If they are pious, they pray that if He relieves them from their suffering condition, they would, after being relieved from the womb, exclusively worship Him. But as soon as they are out and in good shape, they forget everything. Still, I have great hope that one day I will be able to serve you nicely for your pleasure. By the way, as long as the temple room was filled with water from the flood, the snake would come every day, circumambulate the deity once, and then go out. Who knows who that snake actually was? This is in Mayapur, floods time, covering his body with fresh garlands of flowers and tulsi, offering sandalwood paste mixed with fragrant flowers and tulsi leaves for his lotus feet, which symbolizes sacrificing everything to the Lord. The morning puja is now complete. Hearing the devotees gathering outside makes me hurry. It's time for darshan. I blow the conch 3 times and open the doors to reveal the resplendent Lord Jaya Sri Prahlad Narsingadev. The devotees bow down, happy to see this Ugra Narasimha again in their hearts. They know that he is not really as Ugra as he looks. So this is the Pankajangiri Prabhu's telling his worship and pastimes. So I think read this past time. Eyes back. Now I'll read the 10 or so pastimes, smaller ones. Lord Narasimha's Pujari had a very startling dream in which the director of the temple called him and told him to bring some uh, diesel oil, saying, "We are going to sacrifice Lord Narasimha. You are going to what?" exclaimed the Pujari. "Yes, we are going to sacrifice Lord Narasimha. You can't do that. That is crazy. Just bring the diesel, will you?" "Okay, I will bring the oil, but I don't want anything to do with this. It doesn't make any sense." After some time, the Pujari returned to the temple and was totally shocked to see that everything had been completely burned by a great fire. All that remained of the deity was his feet and ankles. Early next morning, he approached the chief Pujari and asked if he could explain the meaning of this terrible nightmare. After thinking for a while, he began to smile and said, "Oh, yes. You see, yesterday was the start of Jaladan, the festival of dipping water on for Saligram for 1 month. But we forgot to observe it. Therefore, Lord Narasimhadev is letting you know that he is burning up, and you should immediately begin the Jaladan, which we did." Wow. That is the first pastime. Pastime number two. Once Lord Narasimha's puja was going on as usual, when the pujari noticed that one flower fell from Narasimha's garland, the pujari asked the visitors if anyone was offering any special prayers to Lord Narasimhadev. The visitors in front did not say anything. But from the back, one lady came forward with tears in her eyes. She said, "My daughter got married about 4 or 5 years ago, and she has no issue. The people in my son-in-law's house consider it inauspicious. So I was praying to Narasimhadev that he might help in her desperate situation." Then the pujari said, "Your prayers is granted. The symptom is that the flower fell from Narasimha's garland. Please take this and keep it nicely. You can wash the flower and give the water to your daughter to drink." Then the Mataji left. Later, the Pujari forgot the incident. After 1 year, the same Mataji, along with her daughter, son in law, and a newborn baby, came smiling to Nursing Dev, and she reminded the Pujari about the prayer she made 1 year back, and as a result, which her daughter gave birth to a very nice baby boy, whom they named Prahlad. And once again, they offered a very nice puja, offering fruits and flowers to Lord Narasimhadev. Lord Narasimhadev ki jai. No, next pastime. One of our Namahata devotees, Kalyani Dasi, has got two daughters. The elder one is Pratibha and the younger one is Anubha. Both of them are married and they have grown up children. They both live in the same city, Berhampur. Once the husband of Pratibha fell extremely sick and was in a coma near to death. Along with the other relatives, the younger sister Anubha was also in great anxiety about her brother-in-law's situation. She went to the hospital, and as she was a devotee, she prayed to Lord Narasimhadev in ISKCON Mayapur to help her brother-in-law. She came home and went to bed with a heavy heart. At the end of the night, she had a dream in which Narasimhadev came near to her and told her, "Don't worry, your brother-in-law is okay." And then her dream broke. In the morning, the news came from the hospital that the patient was doing well. His saline drip and oxygen had both been removed. He was now able to talk. Right, nursing. That is pastime number three. Pastime number four. There was a fight in a village, and the course of the fight during and in the course of the fight, one person was attacked with acid, as a result of which his whole face was burned and terribly disfigured. The sight of one of the eyes was completely lost, and the other eye had only about 10% vision. The doctors they said that the remaining eye, though which he had 10% vision, would also go blind very soon. They suggested taking the patient to Vellore, South India, for further treatment to see if they could do something about it. At that time, a devotee who was there suggested that they should pray to Lord Narasimhadev for the recovery of his eyes. As a result, they prayed to Lord Narasimhadev in ISKCON Mayapur the next day. Much to the doctor's surprise, it was found that the patient could see everything very nicely. Lord Narasimhadev ki jai. Question number 5. One Russian Mataji used to make Tulsi garland for Narasimhadev every day. Being pleased with her, Narasimhadev's Pujari gave her one of Lord Narasimhadev's false fingernails as prasad. She took it and kept it with her. That night she had a dream in which she saw that Lord Narasimhadev had come to her and was sitting on her bed. The Lord then put his fingers with his long nails inside her heart and pulled out something black and said, "You see this? This is not love, it is lust. There is still more there. What shall I do with it?" She could not reply and her dream broke. The next day she went before Lord Narasimhadev and asked him to throw in far away. This is past number 5. Lord Narasimhadev ki jai. Past number 6. The father, one of the devotees of ISKCON Youth Forum, used to argue with him, saying, "Why do we have to worship Narasimhadev where Radha Madhav is there?" The boy tried to make his father understand that Krishna and Narasimhadev are not different, but his father was not very convinced in this regard. During Narasimha Chaturdashi 2003, this boy, along with his father, came to the temple and was watching Lord Narasimhadev's Abhishek ceremony. Suddenly, the boy's father saw Madhava's face in the place of Narasimhadev. He turned to Radha Madhav and again he turned back to Narasimhadev and found Narasimhadev's face was Radha Madhav still. This continued for about 20 seconds. In this way, he realized that there is no difference between Madhava and Narasimhadev. Jai. Lord Narasimhadev ki jai. Pastor number 7. During 2004, Kavi Priya Devidasi of South Calcutta, a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami, made some bracelets for Lord Narasimhadev. Somehow or the other, she could not come to Mayapur and offer them to the Lord. In the meantime, she started becoming sick in different ways. She went to the doctors and tried various treatment, but there was no cure. Lastly, the doctor said that her problem was thyroid. As a result, she would eventually be unable to move. As as she was in great anxiety, thinking what to do, all of a sudden she remembered that about Lord Narasimhadev and the bracelet which she was supposed to offer to him. Even though she was ill, she made the endeavor to come to Mayapur to give the bracelet. After offering them to Lord Narasimhadev, all the symptoms of the illness were totally removed within 3 days. All glories to Lord Narasimhadev. Pastime number 8. On April 22nd, 2005, Revati Sundari Devidasi, age 8, was climbing on the roof of the bamboo playhouse in Grihastha Park in Sri Mayapur Dham. To her great surprise, she fell through the roof, landing on her head. The roof caved on top of her. She was in shock for an hour, shaking and crying and incoherent. She also had concussion. Uh, Gaurab, Gaurab, Gaura Baba, our wonderful homeopathic Vaishnava doctor, treated her for concussion and shock and suggested a scan. After 3 days, Revati woke up in the night vomiting black blood. We rushed her off to Kolkata. On the way, clear fluid was uh, clear fluid was leaking from her nose. Then violent nose bleeds started. We took her straight to good pediatrician, who immediately called in the top neurologist in the city. He ordered a CT scan, and then seeing the result, he sent us to a very good neurosurgeon who has his own private hospital. Revati was admitted straight away. The symptom continued through the night, and we found out that the clear fluid from our nose was the brain fluid, CFS, leaking out. The scan clearly showed a fracture in the floor of our brain, from which the brain fluid was escaping. Also, her brain was swollen and blood was pooling there, causing pressure. She had extreme pain in her head, which was unabated since the accident. The doctors worked on her for a couple of days, giving her medicine intravenously. The whites of her eyes became totally red. She was like a limp rag with little interest in anything. Finally, the doctor said that next morning early they would do a special scan showing all the sections of her brain to determine the exact extent of the injuries, and then would probably decide to operate to repair the damage. They would tell us the decision by 9 a.m. I phoned Pankajangil Prabhu explaining the situation and asked him to please pray to Lord Narsinghdev. He immediately said he would do a full puja between 5 and 7 a.m., complete with Abhishek and everything else. This was the time of the special scan. The next morning, when I met the doctors, they were looking amazed and said that new scan showed that the injuries were miraculously almost healed. All the symptoms such as pain, violent nosebleeds, brain fluid leakage, vomiting, etc., had abruptly stopped. When I went to see Revati, she was sitting up in bed looking bright eyed and fresh, and her eyes were fully white again. Thank you, Lord Narsingdev. Revati's comment on all this was, Grandma, next time something happens to me, please don't waste time with the doctors. Just bring me straight to Lord Narsingdev. Jai. Lord Narsingdev ki jai. This is pastime number 8. Now pastime number 9. Yashoda Mata is 85-year-old foster father. Yashoda Mata's 85-year-old foster father passed away 2 months ago. During his stay in the hospital, Yashoda Mata prepared a tape recorder and played Hare Krishna Mahamantra Dhun all day long in his ward. Her foster father was actually in semi-coma, but miraculously, when he heard the Mahamantra, gradually he awoke and with closed eyes he appeared to enjoying the music and the sound vibration. He started to follow the tempo by tapping his hand on the edge of his bed. His finger ring made the sound like dun 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 dun. He looked like he was totally meditating on the Mahamantra. Suddenly he spoke, look, there's a huge five-clawed man and his head just like a lion. He's coming into my ward. Don't you see him? He's coming. The foster father, still with eyes closed, said, oh yes, I forgot you all cannot see him, but he is really here. I do not know who he is. At that moment, Yashoda Mata and her daughter looked at each other in in great surprise and answered, Father, he is Lord Narsinghdev. What Dev? I didn't know him, but he is nodding his head to tell me that he is. Yashoda Mata felt great ecstasy in hearing this. For in her house she keeps a model of the Narasimha deity from Mayapur and had been offering heartfelt prayers to him so that her father could leave the body without any attachment, that his soul can become Krishna's devotee in her next birth. Continuously, her father said, "Look, he is smiling to me and starting to speak again. Oh, he is telling me that I have to learn to chant what you are chanting now." "What exactly are you chanting?" he said. "It is the mantra to call the holy name of the Lord," Yashodamata replied. "I don't know what mantra, but please teach me," he said. "All right, father, please repeat after me. Listen carefully. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare." Yashoda Mata taught her father, first father word by word patiently without taking a long time. He learned and tried to chant and chanted so nicely. The next day he passed away with tranquility. During that weekend, we devotees here congregated together to do the kirtan for Yashoda Mata's father at funeral service. Yashoda Mata prepared the prasadam garland, Ganga water, tulsi, and put tilak on her father, which have all had been done nicely and properly according to her Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Giridhari Swami. So, telephone instruction. Our foster father's face looked so peaceful. His cheeks were a little pink and his body was soft. After some customary ceremony, the body was sent to the in incinerator. A few hours later, the people who work in the memorial service came to us and exclaimed in amazement, "We have never seen anyone's ashes look so white and beautiful like just as your father's. What happened to him? What were you chanting for him? Could you write it down for us? We want to learn and we think we can also chant while doing our service here." While the Lord Himself personally appeared before someone who we consider is not a devotee, proves the Shastric statement that if one is always engaged in the devotion service of the Lord, all their family members will be benefited as well. Jai. Lord Narasimha Dev ki jai. Further, two more or three more pastimes are there. Hopefully, yeah, we still have 10 more minutes. My father and mother living in Bankura district, Chatna village, are initiated devotees of Gaudiya Math. My name is Gauranga. I had joined the ISKCON Sri Mayapur temple 6 months ago. And after finishing the 3 months new Bhakta training course, I was put in the school preaching service. A few days ago, just before Julan Purnima, my father came to take me back to my house with a request from him and other family members that I should sit. I should sit for the higher board examination and get a degree. I also had a slight desire to go and see my mother. However, on hearing my father's intention, concerned devotees made heartfelt requests. One even fell at his feet, begging him not to take me back to the world of Maya. My father, being a Vaishnava himself, he fell in a great dilemma. Finally, he took shelter of Lord Narasimha and prayed to him for guidance. That night, Lord Narasimha appeared in my father's dream. The Lord was in a very calm mood. He rubbed the palm of his hand on my father and said, "My dear son, you go. Your son shall remain here at my lotus feet." Upon seeing the Lord, my father completely startled and started to pay obeisances. Then Lord Narasimha disappeared. My father happily told my in charge that I may remain and continue to serve here. I also called and informed the other family members that I was not ready to appear for any kind of examination this year. That is one pastime, one more pastime for the Lord Narasimha Dev ki Jai. On the 10th of December 2006, while taking the black Bhakti Shastri course in Mayapur, Deepak Gupta from Delhi suddenly contacted chicken pox. Hoping against hope, he consulted three doctors, allopathy, homeopathy, and Ayurvedic, but all these confirmed the same thing. Take complete rest in isolation for at least 20 days. Deepak became really upset because his parents to uh, had her and let him come to Mayapur only after his repeated his requests over a long period of time. Now he would have to miss the courses as well as the Association of sannyasis and other senior teachers. After suffering intensely for 3 days, Deepak just couldn't tolerate it anymore. As he made his way to temple, he arrived just after Sandhya Arati. As he stood before Lord Narasimha, he said, "Dear Lord, just look at my pitiable condition. The whole body was aching and covered in sores. Please help me." Then he joined the queue for the deities Mahaprasadam. The startled Pujari, seeing his condition, gave some prasadam and called for the security guard, who escorted him and from the temple, told him not to come back with such a contagious disease. Deepak returned to his room depressed at the thought of having to suffer like this for another 17 days or so. At 2 a.m. in the next morning, Deepak awoke feeling very energetic. He got up to take a shower, and in his delight and surprise, he saw that the sores on his body had gone. All the marks had just disappeared. He attended the whole morning program without feeling any trace of fatigue. Deepak says, "I am really thankful to Lord Narasimhadev for what he did for me in the Holy Dham. He saved my life. I could not tell you the pain I was getting, and he cured me just in 1 day." Jai, Lord Narasimhadev ki Jai. Uh, please, three more pastimes. Uh, Hare Krishna, my name is Antarupa Dasi, initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1975, Miami, Florida. I was asked to tell my story of my cure from hepatitis C. This Guru Maharaj mentioned, I think, one time. I heard in the class. The summer of 2004, His Holiness Jayapatak Maharaj visited New Raman Reti Temple in Alachua, Florida. I approached Maharaj and asked him for his blessing for my departure from this world. My illness, hepatitis C of the third stage, fibrosis of the liver. I was undergoing medical treatment for a duration of 48 weeks with only 45% chance to be cured with many side effects. Jay Patak Maharaj said to me, "You see this tab? It was touched to Lord Narasimhadev in Mayapur. Then he touched it to my hand. That night I had a dream. My body was diseased with leprosy and started to fade away. The next morning I had a phone call from the University of Florida. The doctors told me, "Congratulations, you are hepatitis C free. The viral count is non reactive in just 8 weeks." The doctors were amazed, especially for I had genotype 1, the deadly type of hepatitis C. When I started this treatment, I prayed to Lord Narasimhadev every day. But whatever you desire, you may take me from this world, you may cure me, or you may cure me. Whatever you see fit, however, please allow me to be always be engaged in your pure devotional service. Thank you, Lord, for giving me a second chance. This is Andhoropadasi. So, Mataji, October 2006, from 3rd October. Lord Narasimhadev Vijay. Next, government doctors in inspiration. Dr. Basudev Das in Bangladesh, government doctor, is 20-year-old daughter, Mishti Das, who as a medical student became very sick in March 2006. She was diagnosed with life-threatening germ cell tumor in the ovary. They brought her to Mumbai, where treatment started, but soon the doctors gave up on her. Dr. Das went to visit the ISKCON temple in Juhu, where one devotee gave uh, him a leaflet about the upcoming Narsingh Chaturdashi festival in Mayapur, which he attended. There he received a small book of the pastimes of Lord Narsingh Dev in Mayapur. He read in a book some of the miraculous cures that Lord Narsingh Dev had performed and was convinced that by Lord Narsingh Dev's mercy, a daughter would be cured. He went back to Bangladesh and contacted Lord Narsingh Dev's Pujari in Mayapur and requested him to offer a special puja to Lord Narsingh Dev to save his daughter's life. Immediately, Mystery's health started to improve. Now, gradually, she is returning back to her normal state. Vasudev Das became so inspired by Lord Narasimha's mercy that he printed the book of his pastimes and distributed them in Bangladesh. He says, "I feel every person should pray to Lord Narasimha for personal and spiritual development." Jai. Narasimha Bhagwan ki jai. The last pastime. Miracle at Mayapur on October 28, 2006. Chakravarti Raj, the 14-year-old son of Radha Kant Gopal Das and Padma Radhika Devi Dasi, was injured when a firecracker burst in his face. He was immediately rushed to the hospital. The doctor said that he suffered from second degree burn injuries on his face and suggested one first facial dressing immediately, the second chemical crafting after a fortnight, and then plastic surgery after 6 months or 1 year. Next morning, the parents requested Pankajangri Prabhu to offer special prayers to Lord Narasimha for the speedy recovery of Chakravarti Raj, which was duly performed. For the next 2 days, he was just lying on bed without much movement, and he could not even open his eyelids. He was then taken to Disha Eye Hospital at Barakpur, where they found out that Karina, the white portion of his eyes, took the burn injury and that the pupils were unharmed. Hence, there would be a problem with his sight, and a treatment of 15 days would cure the Karina. On 2nd November morning, Padma Radhika Devi Dasi approached her Guru Maharaj, his own Jayapataka, and told him what had happened. He gestured that he will pray for him and applied nursing oil on her forehead. The same morning, Chakra was taken to Calcutta for treatment of his facial injuries. After getting an opinion at the Apollo hospital in the morning, Chakravarti was taken to the railway hospital at Howrah. One of the senior doctors tested him and confirmed that it was a second degree burn and sent him to the dressing room for initial facial dressing. But within 3 minutes, one of the staff from the dressing room rushed out yelling and took the parents inside upon seeing Chakravarti. The parents stood there motionless, struck with wonder and amazement. There was Chakra standing and smiling with no trace of any injury or mark on his face. Narsingh Dev ki jai. When asked for clarification, the doctor and others present in that place could not give any valid reason. One of them said, "You can go back to your temple and ask your Lord about it." Uh, ये तो आपका भगवान का चमत्कार है. So all glories to Lord Narasimha and all glories to Sri. These are the wonderful pastimes of Lord Narasimha. I can understand how merciful is Lord Narasimha as with few verses from Bhagavatam without philosophy these pastimes uh, doesn't help us to connect. So we'll read. Sri Prabhupada gives wonderful commentary from Canto 9. Lord Krishna himself is speaking to here to I think who is speaking to the Durvasa Muni. How much Lord is controlled by his devotees and how he, what should be the mood, everything is been given. Sri Bhagavan was Aham Bhakta Paradino he Aswatantra he Vadvija Sadhubir Grasta Hadayo Bhaktair Bhakta Janapriya. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said to the Brahmana, this is to Durvas Muni, I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires. I sit only within the cores of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee? Even those who are devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. Purport by Sri Prabhupada. All the great stalwart personalities in the universe, including Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, are fully under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is fully under the control of his devotee. Why is this? Because the devotee is Anyabhilasha. In other words, he has no material desires in his heart. His only desire is to think always of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and how to serve him best. Because of this transcendental qualification, the Supreme Lord is extremely favorable to the devotees. And indeed, not only the devotees, but also the devotees of the devotees. Sri Narottam Das Thakur says, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistar Paichakeva. Without being a devotee of devotee, one cannot be released from the material entanglement. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu identified himself as Gopi Pattu Padakamayor Dasa Dasanudas. Thus, he instructed us to become not directly servants of Krishna, but the servants of Krishna. Devotees like Brahma, Narada, Vyasdev, Sukadeva Goswami are directly servants of Krishna. And one who becomes a servant of Narada, Vyasdev, and Sukadeva, like the six Goswamis, is still more devoted. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasad. If one very sincerely serves the spiritual master Krishna, Krishna certainly becomes favorable to such a devotee. Following the instruction of devotee is more valuable than following the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. Next four verses also super important. These verses are clearly telling the essence of bhakti. नाहम आत्मान आशासे मद भक्ते साधुवीर विना श्रियम च अत्यंतिकम ब्रह्मण येषाम गतिर अहम परा. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. O best of the Brahmanas, without saintly persons for whom I am the only destination, I do not desire to enjoy my transcendental bliss and my supreme opulence. See that. Lord is telling that I don't even desire to enjoy transcendental bliss without my devotees. You can understand how important it is. Purport by Sri Prabhupada, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient, but to enjoy the transcendental bliss, he requires the cooperation of his devotees. In Vrindavan, for example, although Lord Krishna is full in himself, he wants the cooperation of his devotees like the cowherd boys and the gopis to increase his transcendental bliss. Such pure devotees who can increase the pleasure of potency of Supreme Personality of Godhead are certainly most dear to him. Not only does the Supreme Personality of Godhead enjoy the company of his devotees, but because he is unlimited, he wants to increase his devotees unlimitedly. Thus, he descends to the material world to induce the non-devotees and rebellious living entities to return home back to Godhead. He requests them to surrender unto him. Because unlimited as he is, he wants to increase his devotees unlimitedly. The Krishna consciousness movement is an attempt to increase the number of pure devotees of Supreme Lord more and more. It is certain that a devotee who helps in this endeavor to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, indirectly a controller of the Supreme Lord, becomes indirectly a controller of the Supreme Lord. Although the Supreme Lord is full in six offline, he does not feel transcendental bliss without his devotee. An example that may be cited in this regard is that if a very rich man does not have sons in a family, he does not feel happiness. Indeed, sometimes a rich man adopts a son to complete his happiness. The science of transcendental bliss is known to the pure devotee. Therefore, the pure devotee is always engaged in increasing the transcendental happiness of the Lord. Next, few more verses. This is all Lord Krishna personally speaking. How important it is having the association and serving and pleasing him is pure devotee. Ye dara gara putra apta pranan vittam imam param hitva mam saranam yata katam tam chaktum utsahe. Since pure devotees give up their homes, wives, children, relatives, riches, and even their lives simply to serve me without any desire for material improvement in this life or in the next, how can I give up such devotees at any time? Purport of Prabhupada, the Supreme Personality Godhead is worshipped with the word Brahmana Devaya, Go Brahmanitaya. Thus, he is the well-wisher of the Brahmanas. Durvas Muni was certainly a very great Brahmana, but because he was a non-devotee, he could not sacrifice everything in devotion service. That's what Lord is saying here, basically. What did you do? What did you do to me? Hmm, He, he did karma, gnana, yoga, but he never did bhakti. So that's what here. One has to serve. One has to serve. His life is to serve. Great mystic yogis are actually self-interested. The proof is that when Durvasmani created a demon to kill Maharaj Amrish, the king stayed fixed in his place, praying to the Supreme Personality of God and depending on wholly on him. Whereas when Durvasmani was chased by the Sudarshan Chakra by the Supreme Will of the Lord, he was so perturbed that he fled all over the world and tried to take shelter in every nook and corner of the universe. At last, in period of his life, he approached Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, ultimately Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was so interested in his own body that he wanted to kill the body of Vaishnava. Therefore, he did not have the very good intelligence. How can an unintelligent person be delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead? The Lord certainly tries to give all protection to his devotees who have given up everything for the sake of serving him. Another point in this verse is that attachment to Dara, Agara, Putra, the home, wife, children, friendship, society, and love is not the way to achieve the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The one who is attached to hearth and home for a material pleasure cannot become a pure devotee. Sometimes a pure devotee may have a habit or attraction for wife, children, and home, but at the same time want to serve the Supreme Lord to the best of his ability. For such a devotee, the Lord makes a special arrangement to take away the objects of his false attachment and thus free him from his attachment to wife, home, children, friends, and so on. This is a special mercy bestowed upon the devotee to bring him back to Godhead. Further, two more verses, I think. Mayi nirbadha hridaya, these verses are very, very important. Mayi nirbadha hridaya, sadhavo samadarshana, vase kurvanti mam bhaktya, sat striya, sat patim yata. What should be our mood? How one should serve is been explained here. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. As chaste women bring their gentle husbands under control by service. The pure devotees who are equal to everyone and completely attached to me in the core of their heart bring me under their full control. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this word, the word Samadarsana is significant. The pure devotee is actually equal toward everyone. As confirmed Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma Nasochitana Kam Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu. Universal brotherhood is possible when one is a pure devotee. A pure devotee is actually learned because he knows his constitutional position, he knows the position of Supreme Personality of Godhead, he knows the relationship between the living entity and Supreme Lord. Thus, he has full knowledge and is automatically liberated. He can therefore see everyone to the spiritual platform. He can comprehend the happiness and distress of all living entities. He understands that what is happiness to him is also happiness to others, and that what is the distress in him, to him is distressing for others. Therefore, he is sympathetic to everyone, as Prahlad Maharaj said. Soche tato vimukta chetasa indriyartha maya sukaya param udbhavato mudam. People suffer from material distress because they are not attached to Supreme Personality of Godhead. A pure devotee's chief concern, therefore, is to rise the ignorant mass of people to the sense of Krishna consciousness. This is the last verse, I think. मत सेवया प्रतीतम ते सालोक्यादि चतुष्टयम न इच्छन्ति सेवया पूर्णा कुतो अन्यत् काल विपुलम. My devotees who are always satisfied to be engaged in my loving service are not interested even in the four principles of liberation, Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, Sarishti. Although these are automatically achieved by their service. What then is to be said of some such perishable happiness as elevation to the higher planetary systems? Purport by Sri Prabhupada. Sri Bellomangal Thakur has estimated the value of liberation as follows. Mukti Swayam Mukulatanjala Sevate Asman Dharmartha Kam Gataya Samaya Pratiksha. Bellomangal Thakur realized that if one develops his natural devotion service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukti stands before him with folded hand to offer all kinds of service. In other words, devotee is already liberated. There is no need for him to aspire for different types of liberation. The pure devotee automatically achieves liberation even without desiring it. साधो हृदय मह्यम साधूनां हृदय तो हम मद अन्यते तेन जानन्ति नाहम तेभ्यो मनागपि. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of my pure devotee. My devotee do not know anything else but me. I do not know anyone else but them. Purport of Sri Prabhupada. Since Durvas Muni wanted to chastise Maharaj Ambaresh, it is to be understood that he wanted to give pain to the heart of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the Lord says, Sadhava Hridaya Mahyam. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart. The Lord's feelings are all like that of a father who feels pain when his child is in pain. Therefore, offenses at the lotus feet of a devotee are serious. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has very strongly recommended that one cannot commit any offense at the lotus feet of a devotee. Such offenses are compared to a mad elephant because when a mad elephant enters the garden, it causes great devastation. Therefore, one should be extremely careful not to commit offenses at the feet or lotus feet of pure devotee. Actually, Maharaj Ambaresh was not at all at fault. Durvas Muni unnecessarily wanted to chastise him on a flimsy grounds. Maharaj Ambaresh wanted to complete the Ekadasi Parana as part of devotional service to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he drank a little water, but although Durvas Muni was a great mystic, Brahmana, he did not know what is what. That is the difference between a pure devotee and so-called learned scholar of Vedic knowledge. The devotees, being always situated in the core of the Lord's heart, surely get all instruction directly from the Lord, as confirmed by the Lord Himself. तेषाम् एवानुकम्पार्थम् अहम् अज्ञानजं तमः नाशयामि आत्मभावस्तु ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their heart, destroy the shining lamp of knowledge, the darkness born of ignorance. The devotee does not do anything not sanctioned by Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is stated, was Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vijayana Na Bhujaya. Even the most learned or experienced person cannot understand the movements of Vaishnava, a pure devotee. No one, therefore, should criticize a pure Vaishnava. A pure Vaishnava is in his own business. Whatever he does is precisely right because he is always guided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jai Shri Prabhupada. This is a wonderful instruction. You can understand how much it is to important it is to serve Lord Maharaj and follow in his footsteps, follow and serve the devotees. Tomorrow being Lord Narasimha Chaturdasi, we should take great care in engaging in devotional service and serve the devotees. Serve Sri Prabhupada and his devotees by pleasing them. Then we can please the Lord Narasimha. So let us all collectively do that. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Mandaras, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakti ki jai.